Bienvenidos, fans of cinema. This is Jaime and Fuego for Enfuegotainment, where we cover the hottest entertainment with an edge weekly, man. Starting out with cinema, and there's so much more fun to come. I have my running buddy, my partner in crime. Represent, yo.
What up? I'm Cecil, Laird. Good to see everyone again. Thanks for coming back.
Yes, exactly right. And this time we are actually tackling something you might be surprised would be considered edgy by our standards, right?
There's nothing edgier than some good old-fashioned cartoon.
That's right, man. Pixar represent, Disney as the higher blanket goes, and yeah, they've been producing some of the best stuff for a while. Pixar especially, man.
100%. Oh my God. You want to go back to the original Toy Story, to Toy Story 3, as some people argue.
Yeah, 2 is just okay.
To Nemo, of course. To the Incredibles. Possibly
my favorite. Finding Nemo, dude.
I was a big Incredibles guy, so I dig that one. And that was Pixar still, right? Yeah, that was before they splintered. Yeah,
yes, exactly right. And then somehow fragmented back together.
Up naturally. Up was the first of the Pixar movies to really hit you in the feels, along with the funnies.
In the feelers, yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what this movie does that we were about to talk about. We got Inside Out.
I'm joy. This is sadness. That's anger.
What?
This is disgust. And that's fear. We're Riley's emotions. These are Riley's memories. They're mostly happy, you'll notice, not to brag.
I wanted to maybe hold one.
What happened? Sadness?
She did something to the memory.
Is everything okay?
I don't know.
Take it back, Joy.
Trying.
Joy, no, wait!
The core memories.
We came in expecting some heart tugging because it's about emotions. We can give a little bit of history and story about it. It's it's like Herman's Head envisioned as a children's cartoon kind of.
You remember that very specific and very low watched '90s sitcom, Herman's Head? You don't?
Fox.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Go ahead and YouTube some. If you really want, I wouldn't recommend it. But he's right. It is a little bit like Herman's Head.
Yeah, it's a similar concept in the fact that you've got emotions all within this brain of this adolescent girl, and it kind of starts things out with her birth and the first emotion that she feels, and joy, yeah,
which is
happiness.
Being brought into the world. You're like, wow, and
everything is so bright, so new, so just captivating, I guess, right?
And then we sort of switch to Joy being our main character, and we see as the other emotions are introduced,
slowly
as she grows.
Sadness is the second one, which a baby crying, I guess it makes the most sense for that.
They laugh and they cry and they poop, and that's about all the babies do.
And then they slowly become more diversely emotion creatures. That's how we age, and that's how we improve, and much more complex. And I'm telling you, the bueno, the malo, and the feo, that's how we like to cover these films here at Enfuegotainment. Good, the bad, the ugly. The bueno is the complexity and just the originality of this idea. Granted, it has some similarities to that aforementioned Fox show, but this is really taking it to the limit, man, because it's appealing to kids and to adults, right?
And yes, and I think we both can agree that it was actually, when all is said and done, it actually caters a little bit more towards the intelligence of the adult audience than anything else, because I'm guaranteeing that this movie is way deeper than a lot of the kids that are watching are able to grasp at this point. Yeah. They're watching for the colors and the pratfalls,
which all looks beautiful, and that is bueno as well.
And the pratfalls are funny. And the pratfalls are funny.
Running into a wall. And stuff
exactly.
Like that,
and all kinds of stuff like that. But the social complexity and the hit at homedness of the movie, which I understand is not a word, but I am running with it. Like, it really,
it's a good descriptor.
It gets you in the feels. It really does, man. Like, all over the place. It's
and that's what good cinema does, right? It makes you, it invokes emotion, and this film definitely does that. It is about emotions, but
absolutely. And what I wanted to expand upon in the bueno is that it is a much more creative movie than I went into thinking it would be. Like, okay, I was thinking voices, and I was thinking going into it that it was going to be an animated Herman's Head. Yeah. I was thinking that. But they lay out the tracks, as it were, right away, where basically these little orbs roll into headquarters, which is in the head, which is where all the emotions are based.
Each orb is a memory, right?
Yeah, each orb is a memory of a different color, and the first ones are joyous, right?
Yep,
like
so
the first
yellow.
time the parents lean in and say, "Oh, my little baby. That's like the first memory that rolls out. And so basically these emotions are also the keepers of the memories of this little girl, Riley.
Yep. So whether it's an angry memory where you were so ticked off about something, or a sad memory
which is red,
yeah.
which is blue,
yep.
naturally.
Yep.
Sad memories are blue.
Yep. They all correspond. You've got the green for disgust.
Because bleh.
Yeah, and purple for Mr. Bill Hader, and I guess, and that's for fear.
For fear.
And this is a good point for us to mention that the bueno is the voice acting.
Oh my
Great
gosh,
work
one of the
by,
buenos is absolutely the voice
Yeah,
acting. They were smart in this one, and they went with people with natural comedy talent from, as you mentioned, I believe,
Amy Poehler.
NBC.
It's pretty much all NBC guys
Yeah.
except for like Louis Black. I think I don't know if he's ever done anything for NBC, but you've got
Was he? Wait, he did some sort of news program at one point. I'm not sure if he popped up on SNL as like the angry newscaster.
Poehler, Hader. They both have the SNL background.
Exactly.
And then you've got Phyllis Smith, who was on The Office and was kind of the quieter, just kind of like I'm not sure.
She was actually really good
perfectly.
as Sadness. I didn't know it was. In fact, I had such a hard time deciphering who it was during the movie because I like to play that game. Who's playing what voice?
Exactly.
Since I don't know necessarily, and I couldn't figure it out. She was so appropriately Sadness that
despondent and really played off so well.
Well, just
Amy
like
Poehler's exuberant.
She was the Eeyore of the voices in the head.
Blue once again.
Yeah, literally like. Oh, my favorite thing is when the sad thing happened. Like, it's just like, oh, nobody likes me. No one ever does. She was literally the Eeyore of Riley's head. But it was fun.
Yeah. So that was the voice work doing a great job with taking a novel idea and, when we were thinking, okay, great idea, how are you going to run with it? They really brought it to life well and brought the emotion to the emotions. Yes, they did. Bad joke. Popsicle joke in this
Terrible
case.
joke. I'm not going to approve that.
Maybe some of the malo for me is the fact that it's not a knock on the script, it's a knock on the fact that there's kids who are just not going to appreciate how deep this film actually goes.
Right.
It has a lot to say, and even if maybe one of the other malos is that I think the story lost a little steam in trying to resolve things in the third act. And great concept. How do you finish it? That's often tough, right?
The thing I kind of was expecting to be a little bit better, and thus why it became the malo for me, is that it wasn't quite as sort of laugh out loud or uproariously funny as Pixar movies tend to be.
No, the laughs were not prevalent.
It was more serious, and at the most it got like a few chuckles out of me, and that was about it. Like, so that was a little strange, but it didn't necessarily detract from the movie. That's part of what feeds into why I'm saying, or why you were saying, why we're both saying that it's more of an adult movie for a kids movie. Like it's really strange.
It's so allegorical. It's definitely masquerading as something.
It's a deep pit masquerading as a kiddie pool.
As a kiddie pool, exactly right. And we're talking as deep as the ocean depths, as complex as emotions can be,
100%.
even in a kids movie.
Yeah,
so.
it really was. So that was a little odd, and it felt a little weird. But as the adult, now I'm watching these movies as an adult. It was interesting on a different level than some of the past Pixar movies have been.
Not what we expected, so not bad, but could be bad to certain parents who are taking their kids thinking, oh, it's going to be a laugh riot, and the kids... I almost saw kids getting bored at times in the theater.
Oh my gosh.
Because, parents were captivated and parents were having the emotional heartstrings tugged and shedding the occasional tear, and then the kids
were wandering
cheering
the
when
aisles.
the choo-choo train comes on.
Yeah.
It just kind of shows
Choo-choo, mommy! Oh boy.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes when you have kids in the theater. Which,
and if you don't mind, I'm going to use that to segue into my fail.
Into your fail. We're going to have Cecil take away the fail this time and run off with it.
Yeah, this fail is more of a real life fail than anything else. The movie, there wasn't anything particularly. Yeah,
right?
the movie wasn't particularly ugly in any way, shape, or form. However, the viewing audience left a little to be desired, in so much as we literally got sat next to that family. And everyone knows who that family is. That family basically treats the movie theater as though it's their living room. And, we all are quiet about it because we're polite. Yeah, but that's not the case. It's not your living room. You can't let your kid just shake the chair in front of you, and you can't let the kid whack on the knee of the person next to them, i.e. me. In this particular movie, I was getting whacked in the knee and the feet and all kinds of stuff. He reached in and threw my sunglasses on the floor at one point. So here's what I'm saying. getting through the Lewis Black anger of it.
Which is raging right now. This public service announcement for
Exactly.
moviegoers
I've got
has been brought to you
fire
by
blasting out my head.
Enfuegotainment.
Literally fire and Enfuegotainment. It all works. But here's the thing, you guys. Just be respectful of everyone around you, everyone that wants to watch the movie and actually be able to hear the whole thing.
Yeah, truly. But Feo for me, I must say, one of the few things that does come to mind, despite the imaginary friend that they encounter looking like Death to Smoochie. He was one of the best characters, but I must say, just those correlations for me were a little ugly, a little Feo, a little weird, kind of strange. But
he was basically a pink cotton candy elephant.
That cried candy.
That cried candy, wrapped candy, no less.
Yeah.
So but again, ended up being a much deeper character than you initially give him credit for.
Truly.
Yeah.
And some of the more depth that I have to mention, because it is ugly, is that take one look at the parents and see which emotions are kind of ruling them. Because that's the thing, you see into the daughter's head and you see, okay, Joy is running most things, but it's a little bit different when you see the mom and the dad.
Yeah.
And there's a point that you made when we were talking about the film earlier that, that all of them, since there's kind of a gang mentality amongst the emotions, explain that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seemed like for Riley, all the emotions have a different look and a different personality, but it seemed like whenever they zoomed in, because at the end, stay through the credits, or stay for the beginning of the credits at least, because
that's one of the best parts in the film.
Yeah,
great Easter egg.
in typical Pixar fashion, they have a little extra for you at the end during the credits. And originally it was outtakes that they would make, but this was a little different. So they would basically take characters and zoom into their heads
that you'd seen throughout the film.
Exactly,
and heard nothing from.
Exactly, but they would show what the control room looked like. And the point you were alluding to is that what I noticed was that while Riley's head had all the different characters looking different, the dad and the mom and the adults in the movie, all of their characters seem to have taken on the look of a particular emotion.
The one that was dominant.
Yeah, their
really
dominant emotion sort of eventually morphs all the other emotions to look the same, which is, if you look at it, if you try and look at it with a bit more of a monocle, as it were, you're going to get a little bit more depth, and that's to say that as adults, we tend to let one emotion take over and start to rule our behavior. And it's something that they're warning us, don't let it happen, Let joy rule. Like it's sort of
put a little love in your heart, guys.
It's a similar optimistic message to Tomorrowland that we saw not too long ago.
That we're masters of our own destiny, and it's easy as we age to get complacent and let emotions get all mixed together, as opposed to really feeling the sadness when we need to, and really feeling the joy when we need to. It's almost like as we age, we get numb.
Yeah, and you gotta let each emotion have its place within you.
Yeah.
And
you're
a more balanced
happy
person.
all the time. Yeah. No, you're going to be pent up, and possibly when the sadness comes out, it's going to be a lot uglier.
And all the most balanced people let all emotions have their turn at the control board.
Every dog has their day, or brightly colored animated figure.
And speaking of dogs and cats, it's really funny in the last credit scene, so just keep watching.
Yeah. There's a lot to keep an eye out for. And the only Feo that I'm going to mention is that this grown metalhead with long hair cried to the introductory. Pixar is very notorious for having these little shorts at the beginning. I really enjoyed it. It tugged at my heartstrings. I know Cecil thought it was just a glorified music video, so perhaps that's a different type of Feo for both of us.
It was still fun and enjoyable, but
right film, right time, or right bit of footage. I don't know. For me,
this is a crybaby metalhead right here.
Yeah, I know. I've been exposed. You know that I'm far too sentimental, possibly.
I won't admit, even though it's true that I did tear up during the movie, especially towards the end.
Yeah.
And I saw parents.
Proof there was no kids crying in this
theater.
No
kids crying, but I did see parents, especially a big rough and tumble dude, wiping his face off after this point.
Man. Metalheads and big burly guys, tearing up.
It happens.
That's Pixar for you.
It happens, especially if you have kids. Be on the lookout. If you go see this movie and you have kids, you're gonna cry.
Yeah. Time for us to wrap things up and mention the project that we do together. Gracias for tuning into Enfuegotainment, but we always finish things with a shout out, and I always let Cecil take this away.
Absolutely. We do a horror variety show on YouTube at youtube.com/The Horror Show Channel or just www.thehorrorshowchannel.com. We are not scary, we are scary informative.
I'm at Jaime Fuego on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of those social media sectors. So I extend a grande gracias for tuning in, letting us shoot the shingles about cinema and all that fun stuff. It was always enlightening, and love having Cecil with me for these. So gracias to him, gracias to you peeps for tuning in, and until next time, adios,
Stay edgy.
amigos.
I just threw that out there. I don't know if that works or not. Stay edgy.
We're living on edge.
You can't break this. I don't know what the words are to that. I
don't
would have tried.